Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving across the natural state. I know as we did well, we took a few days off to kind of sit back and relax while keeping a very close eye on the weather as well, what's coming up as we head into the first half of this week. And as we talked about in our fall outlook, we were concerned about the possibility that November would turn to active. And boy, has it ever. We started the month with severe weather. We had 3 snow events in the middle. And now as we close out the month of November, we are talking about another round of severe weather, significant severe weather, and potentially even greater than what we saw on November the 4th.
All right. So as you just mentioned before, we are going to be watching for the potential of seeing some significant severe weather as we get towards the Tuesday time frame here. And I want to kind of throw something out before we get started with everything here. The biggest thing is going to be the top right corner, okay? You don't normally see us, and I know a lot of people are new here that probably came to the page from the November 4th outbreak. The biggest thing is you do not see us go outbreak wording on day 3. We don't normally use that wording unless our hands are literally forced. And at this point, our hands are literally forced here. So right now, I said before, we are looking at the potential of seeing significant severe weather across much of central, down into southern and eastern Arkansas here. Now, I want to stop you guys right there. The biggest thing, and I want to stress, you're at day 3. Okay, you're at Sunday, so you've got the rest of tonight, tomorrow, and all day on Tuesday for changes. Per the latest computer models, we're going to show you guys here in just a little bit, and then we're going to answer a lot of questions because I know a lot of people are kind of concerned, trying to figure out what to do and stuff like that. Do not be shocked if this risk goes further to the west. I want to repeat that. Do not be shocked if this risk ends up further to the west if trends continue to go as they are, as they've been with the guidance today. So I want to kind of break this down here, okay? So first and foremost, out in western Arkansas, you're in the green area. That's called the marginal risk. We're going to go over kind of how these risk areas work in just a little bit. But it goes from Mount Home to Harrison, down to Waldron, Mena, and down to DeQueen, okay? Western Arkansas, as of now, you're kind of waiting. You're kind of sitting high right now. You're not in the biggest area. So what I want you guys to do, if you're in western Arkansas right now, continue to stay in the stream, watch the information closely, and be ready for rapidly changing conditions because this thing can easily go to the west. If you're in the yellow zone, from Walnut Ridge to the metro, down to Magnolia, Texarkana, Hope, Arkadelphia, over towards Hot Springs, Russellville, in the Clinton area, you're in a slight risk area. That means you have the potential of seeing tornadoes, damaging winds, and the hail threat. Okay, and also watch from the the Walnut Ridge to the metro down to Magnolia. You notice something, how the hatched area is not exactly in the enhanced risk. You have the hatched area in the slight risk as well. And what does that hatched area mean? It means the potential of seeing strong tornadoes here. So watch it closely over the next 2 days here. That goes from Walnut Ridge to the metro to Magnolia. Just because you're outside of the orange area does not mean you're not in risk for the potential of seeing strong tornadoes. And of course, eastern Arkansas, from Jonesboro to Memphis, down to El Dorado and Crossett, and you guys are hatched for the potential of seeing strong tornadoes here. Go ahead.
And if you were with us on November 4th, and we saw several strong tornadoes outside of the enhanced risk and the moderate risk areas on that day, and especially up there in a northwest corner of the state, where I believe up there in Madison County,
yep,
we had a slight risk,
yeah,
but you had a couple EF2s up there. So once again, just because you're in a certain risk area, that doesn't mean severe weather won't be seen. What it means is the confidence is greatest in the higher risk area, but any risk area is at risk for that potential for severe weather. Now, why are we bringing up the word outbreak this far out? Well, if you read the National Weather Center or the Storm Center's outlook, they state specifically a tornado outbreak is possible with this event. Everything is trending that way. Now, the other thing I want to throw out there as well, it's going to be kind of cool on Tuesday morning when you first get up. Rapid increase in moisture will lead to temperatures going from the 40s, maybe even the 50s across parts of South Arkansas into the 70s really quickly throughout the day. By lunchtime, most of us will already be in the 60s and 70s with those dew points coming up fast as well. It's going to be humid on Tuesday afternoon.
And we
It's
see,
not uncommon
I was gonna say,
for a cool season event.
Yeah.
Because on December 10th of last year, we saw this. January of 2012, we saw this as well. We started in the 30s that morning, but that afternoon, Southeast Arkansas was in the 70s, and we had several strong tours on that afternoon. So, again, just because it's cool season does not mean severe weather cannot happen. We've had 2 straight weeks of below average temperatures. Now we're trending that upward tick to where you're going to have a transition quickly from winter back to spring, then right back down to the winter type of atmosphere. But with changes come the changes for severe weather as well.
Right. So that's the biggest thing here. So watch that out for Tuesday morning here. As mentioned before, it's not going to be our last live stream either. We're going to have information tomorrow. We're going to have information definitely on Tuesday. We're going to be here. So make sure you stay with us, guys. Now, I want to talk about a few things here, okay, before we start answering questions and start going into computer model guidance. The biggest thing you guys need to know is the watches and the warnings here. And Derek, I know there's been a lot of controversy on Twitter and stuff like that about Little Rock's radar being down. I want to talk to you guys about that, okay? The biggest thing with that radar, it is not in Little Rock's control. This is outside of Little Rock's control. We've had conversations with them and everything like that. This is not Little Rock. And I know a lot of people are mad at them and stuff like that. It's not Little Rock. Let me stress that. It is not Little Rock. It's the country, basically a main branch of the National Weather Service, a southern branch, which is, I believe, in Birmingham. The southern branch that controls much of our National Weather Service offices. That's what's going on, okay? What Little Rock is trying to do, they're trying to postpone the scheduling of the maintenance until this event is over. So Little Rock is trying their hardest to get it done.
Yeah.
I think, personally, it will get resolved by tomorrow. I think they will see this, especially if this risk ends up even higher than it is now, and I do believe that it will probably be resolved by first thing tomorrow morning, which will be excellent news. However, I want to stress something. I know a lot of people are worried. We are not radarless here in Arkansas Little Watches, okay? We will be live. We're not going to be totally blind. We have Fort Smith, we have Shreveport, we have Memphis, Jackson, Springfield, we have Paducah. We have a lot of neighboring National Weather Service offices that has radar. So we have you guys controlled. I promise you guys, we're going to be here, okay? We're not going into this blind. We're not going into this with no radar or anything like that. We're going to be here, okay? We have radar. We're perfectly fine. We're good to go. So make sure that you guys stay with us. And on Tuesday, just rest assured that you guys are in great hands, okay? But I want to talk about this difference, okay? So the difference between the watch and the warning. Conditions are favorable for severe weather, and then the warning itself, just keep that in mind as we get towards Tuesday. We're going to have a lot of severe weather information as we get towards tomorrow and then Tuesday here, okay? The biggest thing I want to talk to you guys right now, it's Sunday night, okay? It's 4 o'clock. Probably in the next 2 to 3 hours, you're fixing to sit down for your Sunday meal, probably finishing off Thanksgiving stuff. Talk to your family about tornado safety, okay? Go, if you got a storm shelter, I mentioned this earlier on today, go clean out your storm shelters. Go clean out your place of safety today or tomorrow. Do it now while you have the chance, okay? If you have no storm shelter, clean out your basement. Clean out a small interior room. Kind of put yourself between yourself and the outside. Kind of think of you if you're in a situation at that point, okay? If you're planning on traveling on Tuesday, study your environment. Study your surroundings. Say, hey, am I going to be near a grocery store? Am I going to be near this? Am I going to be near that? Take the time now to make sure you have that plan ready to go. That way Tuesday you're not caught off guard. And yes, I'm seeing a lot of questions about timing. Timing right now, and I know as frustrating as this is going to sound, is not 100% certain. And I want to stress this too, that specific timing is not going to be nailed down until the day of. Yep. And one more thing, you may experience multiple rounds of severe weather. It's not going to be just one and out, and that's it. You may experience multiple rounds of severe weather throughout the day on Tuesday. So keep that in mind here. That's why it's so difficult for us to give you guys a specific minute-by-minute timing right now, because of the fact that you may be experiencing multiple rounds of severe weather throughout the day on Tuesday at this point here, okay? So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about that. Also, one more thing I want to get out before we jump into questions and the computer model guidance is understanding the severe weather risk, okay? The marginal risk, the slight risk, the enhanced risk, the moderate, and then the high. Those that are in the marginal risk over there in western Arkansas, That does not mean you will not see severe weather. As you can see, that means isolated severe thunderstorms are possible. It's limited, but you can still see it. Slight risk area, you start talking scattered severe thunderstorms being possible, and then the enhanced, numerous, the moderate, which I do believe at some given point you will see a moderate out of this. It's a given at this point. It just depends on what happens and everything like that here. But you start talking moderate, widespread severe thunderstorms be possible, and then obviously the high risk would mean a severe weather outbreak or a tornado outbreak is expected. Hopefully it doesn't get that far, but as I said before, we'll keep you guys updated on the latest here. Okay, so that's what we got, kind of all the information. Let's go ahead and jump over to questions that could be monitored.
So something I do want to stress about this is that everything we're looking at right now, I do believe school will be okay, because we do have school. School is starting back after fall break.
Yeah.
Right now the timing does look to be after 4 o'clock, similar to what we saw with the November 4th event. But again, we're still a couple days out. That could change. Now, another thing I want to stress about this event is that there's two different types of scenarios here. One of which I think is less likely, one I think is going to be more likely with this event. There's things that we look for to lessen a severe weather threat. This is what we call morning convection. And typically in the spring, you have a surge of warm air coming over cold air as the warm front moves north. And that tends to lead to a few showers, isolated storms, and stuff like that. Elevated storms that pose no major severe risk other than hail. Well, that's something we are watching for. Right now, it's kind of back and forth as to whether or not we're going to see that or not. But trends are there to where there should be just enough dry air in place from this departing low that we had over the weekend that brought us rain.
Yeah.
There should be just enough sinking air behind that will limit any potential rainfall Tuesday morning. So if we do not get the rainfall on Tuesday morning, that will lead to basically all day long for the atmosphere to destabilize, which could therefore increase the chances of severe weather. So your best hope is clouds and rain on Tuesday morning. Now, flip side of that coin, with the Jonesboro tornado event again in March of 2020, we had rain all day long. Mayflower, we had rain all morning long. So, similar scenarios don't necessarily always lead to the same thing. So again,
it's going to be very difficult. I see what you're getting at with the morning rain. It's just the problem is right now we have all that dry air that's going to be in place because we had a front that came through late last night and into today. So we'll watch and see. That's what we call I believe what's called a felt forecast mode. Basically, that's what that means. It means that there's always, and I tell you guys all the time with severe weather, is there's an 80% and there's a 20%. You always forecast a 20% because not every severe weather threat is going to go as planned. You always have that severe weather bust potential, but we'll watch it closely. Definitely, I do agree with you, by the way, with warm air coming over the cold air, leading to some morning activity here. But
my thing is this: is that with the sinking air behind the system that just left, that is going to lead to a very limited potential for any morning convection. Could we see a few isolated showers? Sure, absolutely. Every time you get a moisture surge, you're going to have the potential for a few isolated showers. But isolated showers versus widespread rain will not really overall, stabilize the atmosphere enough. I mean, obviously, our hope is that this whole thing stabilizes and nothing occurs.
Definitely.
And it's always our hope whenever a forecast goes out. But typically, when this started at day 7, we were like, oh, this is not going to be good. And we have seen a transition from West Arkansas to East Arkansas over the past 4 days. Yeah. But that being said, that still does not mean that everybody is not at risk.
Right.
Again, wherever the risk area is, that's where you need to be cautious, no matter if it's marginal, slight, or enhanced risk.
Yeah. So I'm going to answer Darius this before I'm going to let you pull up the questions here. I'm going to get to this one. Why is the radar expected to be down? It's a pedestal that they're basically upgrading for future references to have the radar going into I believe 2030. I believe they're going through the maintenance to kind of make sure the radar is good and kind of upgrade some stuff to make sure the radar is continuing into the future here. But I do believe, like I said before, probably first thing in the morning. I know the holidays kind of jammed everything up, but I do believe first thing in the morning something will be worked out. Something has to be worked out, because if we lose LZK, obviously it's not going to be horrible, but it's going to be pretty bad. Okay, so let me see. Now, Virginia, here you go. National Service has no control over scheduling the maintenance for the radar. Okay, so something's got to be done. That phone number, one of my forecasters pinned that, and I want everybody to do me a favor. Call that number and suggest that the radar should not be worked on for this event. I want you guys to do that. Do me a big favor for that. Thank you, Virginia, for that comment here. One of my forecasters, please pin that in the comments. That way everybody can see it. But call that number, guys. Okay, and I'm going to make a post probably in the next 2 hours. But call that number, okay? Derek, while you're doing that, I can see real quick. All right, so let me take a look at something real quickly here, guys. And if y'all have any questions, please let me know. This is the biggest thing. Stacy, what about Baton Rouge? Down there in southern Louisiana, I'm not really too concerned down there. I do believe you may see a couple of storms or severe thunderstorms down there, but the biggest thing is your system is further to the north, which means your lift is further to the north, which means you may experience a capping aversion down there in southern Louisiana, which would mean that you won't see any kind of thunderstorms down there. We'll wait and see what happens down there in southern Louisiana, but I say for right now, the bigger risk should be well to the north of that area here. But we'll watch it closely and keep you updated on it. I'm going to let you have your tablet back. Sorry. But yeah, that number that's pinned in the comments, please call that number, guys. I cannot stress it enough. Blow their phones up. That way they can stop the scheduling and maintenance here. Now, what you're looking at here is the NAMON. I'm kind of going over some guidance here. What you're looking at is the instability here. Now, we're going to take this back and show you guys with the 18Z. Okay, so this is right around noon on Tuesday, and you can see the instability beginning to come in. The biggest thing, like Derek mentioned before, it's going to be cool Tuesday morning. When you wake up, and we can take a look at temperatures real quick. Temperatures Tuesday morning are going to start off in the 40s and 50s. And in some cases, I do believe there it is. Okay, so yeah, 40s and 50s across the state. It's going to start cold. Do not let your guard down on Tuesday morning because of the temperatures. Temperatures are going to rapidly increase throughout the day on Tuesday. You're getting moisture in during this event as the system is coming our way. So keep that in mind here. That's why I'm not really concerned about this. Go ahead.
Something else I wanted you to notice about this as well. Look at the extent of the southerly winds across our region.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way up into Missouri and Kansas, Illinois. This is a widespread swath of southerly winds pumping Gulf moisture north, and it's going to be a rapid increase.
Look at that.
I mean, as our trough and our front swings in, you see a rapid increase as it surges north. And unfortunately, one of the key ingredients, like we talked about for the November 4th event, is you need moisture in place, but you also need instability. We're going to have at least two of those. We're going to have at least one of those. Shear's another thing you need with an event like this. We're going to have plenty of that.
Look at there. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of shear coming across the state. My husband is in Star City area in Deer Camp. Down there, should he be very concerned? Yes. Down there, I would be very, very concerned about the potential of seeing severe weather. Also, the potential of strong tornadoes, too. And the biggest thing is, you guys know me. If you know me personally, you know me and Derek personally, we don't like throwing out outbreak wording on day 3.
Yep.
It doesn't happen. Because of the fact that so many things can happen between now and the event that, throwing out that wording is just unwise and stuff like that. Normally it's hype. But at this particular point, you just can't work your way around it because you have everything in place. You've got a trough axis coming in. You've got moisture coming in. Dew points in the upper 50s to near 70. You've got an ample amount of instability. There's a lot of ingredients that are going to be in place with this event. And obviously, something can go wrong with this. But the chances of it actually happening is it's slim right now. But I said before, we're at day 3 now. But the biggest concern I have, and Rose, I'm going to get to your comment here in just a little bit. Notice how your jet is connected to the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, you're looking at 850 millibar level, which means you've got moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. This is what we call unimpeded flow coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. Basically, this is why we're not worried about, the morning rain or anything like that, because the warm front is going to surge north. Whenever you have your 850 around 50 to 60 knots, which is equivalent to almost 70 miles per hour at, at the low levels. Basically, what's going on is going to basically speed blitz that warm front through the state. So I'm not concerned about the warm front stalling out or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I'm very concerned that model guys may be a little bit slower with the warm front pushing through the state. I'm really worried that the warm front may be coming through Monday night versus Tuesday morning because of the fact that you have a lot of wind shear coming in. If that happens, then you get increased moisture, you get increased instability, and you're talking a whole big different ball game. Roads, and I had a lot of people asking me about this now on here and also my my personal. Could this go high risk? Right now, I do believe this is a very good moderate because of the fact that first and foremost you have a lot of what we call field forecast modes. But there it said before, morning rain. Could the warm front get hauled up? What are we looking at for moisture? The speed of the trough. There's a lot of lingering questions right now to keep this under a high risk. If let's say this, your trough is slow, you get ample amount of moisture, you get the setup, I can't rule it out. This could make a run for it. But right now, I do believe with the lingering the uncertainty right now, I do believe this is a really good moderate risk. I think this is a very good moderate risk at this point. East End, you guys dealt with that tornado on November 4th. Get your family prepared. Have a plan ready to go. Be ready to go. At this current point here, guys, and that's the message for everybody. You know, Western Arkansas, you're at the lower risk right now. You're kind of sitting pretty at this point, but I'm very concerned here. Let's take a look at something here, and this is what we call, and I pulled this up at first. This is what we call what's called the STP, or the significant tornado parameters. Obviously, this is the Fitts layer. This is not including any kind of capping inversions or anything like that. But basically, whenever you see anything higher than an orange, when you start talking about these reds and the purples and even the dark purples, that's when you need to be concerned. Okay, so this is right around Tuesday evening, okay, coming into southern Arkansas. When I'm concerned about the NAM has slowed down significantly. I mean, this is the worst time possible to get this coming into the state. This is coming in during the evening hours. You lose your daylight. This is coming in during that point, and you're wondering, you lose the sunlight. Why in the world are we still getting instability? We saw this with November 4th. The instability continued to stream in even though you lost your daytime heating because of the fact that your flow is coming out of the Gulf of Mexico. If it's what we call it, basically unimpeded means nothing is stopping it. So if you have moisture coming up from the Gulf of Mexico and nothing to stop it, you're going to continue to get instability even after you lose your daytime heating. Obviously, it's going to limit it. It's going to be, instead of it being 3,000 to 4,000, it will probably be 1 to 2, but that's still more than enough for this event here. But you can see how the tornado threat really increases throughout the evening and into the overnight hours here. And even in some cases, I mean, I hope the NAM model is overdoing this. You're talking some cases up between 8, I think it maxed out. I think it maxed out the STPs over here. Yep. So we'll just have to watch and see over here in eastern Arkansas. Yep. But I mean, man, go ahead. Yeah, go
Amanda, I saw this comment again. The moderate risk for the November 4th event was not issued on the day of. It was issued on day 3. And
no. Wait. Hold on.
Moderate risk on November 4th.
November 4th. No. The moderate risk on November 4th didn't get issued until 11:30 that morning.
Okay.
It was day 1.
Okay.
Because there was a lot of uncertainty with the moisture, kind of similar to this.
Okay.
A lot of uncertainty with that. But I will say, I think it was the January event.
The January event.
Okay. The January event.
Right.
That was the one that got issued day 3. Yeah, I can see this going moderate. I was kind of, day 3, it's very hard to get a moderate risk on day 3 because there's a lot of uncertainties, a lot of questions in terms of timing, moisture, and there's a lot of questions that needs to be answered to get a day 3 moderate. I do believe it will, and don't be shocked if you wake up first thing tomorrow morning and there's a moderate risk.
Yep.
Don't be shocked about that. But for this to go high risk, you need an extra amount of what I'm seeing right now to get it done. Could it happen?
It's not gonna happen.
Could it happen? I don't.
Happen.
I was gonna say I don't know. It just if it happens, it's gonna be day 1. It's something that's a whole day 1 thing. You're not gonna get it at day 2, day 3,
and
because of the fact there's just too many questions right now. But a moderate definitely.
The same thing I want to stress about it is I'm seeing everybody wondering, will it be worse because there's a moderate risk, or worse because of high risk, or don't worry about the color. Don't worry about the rest of it. I think we stress every single severe weather event. And something is that we stressed back in September and October.
Yeah.
We're going to our fall severe weather event. Arkansas is known for wintertime severe weather. You should already have a plan in place. A plan should always be kept in place. Just because of events like this
Yep.
don't sneak up on you. And, we do have severe weather awareness. We do have fall severe weatherness. We have spring severe weather awareness. The biggest thing is that I'm seeing everybody, wondering about the risk area. Wondering about, well, if it's a higher risk, should I worry about it than the lower risk? If I'm in West Arkansas, should I worry about it because I'm in a lower risk?
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there, Derek. Let's take a look at the NAM for just for giggles. Let's say the NAM verifies. Remember when I said you had a marginal and slight risk over there in Western Arkansas, and we talk about this every severe weather event. I don't know why that's the case with, I'm not in the biggest area, so I'm not worried about it. It should never be the case. My good buddy up there in Northwestern Arkansas, I think Josh, if he's in this live stream, if he's not, then he'll see it. But we had a tornado go through Northwestern Arkansas, EF3. I think it was the Springdale tornado, marginal risk. Okay, those risk areas are not meant for 100%. You're going to get severe weather, or if you're not in the risk, it's nothing. It's not a moderate risk or nothing setup. This is a marginal, slight, enhanced, moderate risk. Everybody, if you're in a severe risk, you need to be ready to go for the unexpected. NAM verifies you're in Western Arkansas, you're in a marginal and slight risk, you're in the same ball game as Eastern Arkansas at this point. This is why we're stressing so much about paying attention to the threats. Don't focus on just the colors, because I'm going to tell you now, if you focus on just the colors, it's going to burn you, and it's going to burn you bad, especially with these severe weather threats here, okay? Those are just confidence. If you're in Eastern Arkansas, you have the higher confidence of seeing severe weather. If you're in Western Arkansas, you're in a lower confidence, but it doesn't mean you're not going to see anything. All it takes is just one warning. All it takes is one warning. I want to stress that so much right now. All it takes is one warning. Amanda, I want to preach. I wish I could just pin that right now. If you're in a marginal and a slight risk area, it does not mean you will not see severe weather. We've seen this time and time again. I've seen some cases where even the general thunderstorm threat has seen a tornado warning. It happens. It's not so much as you're not going to see it, it's so much as a confidence thing. That's what it all is. It's all confidence. It doesn't mean that's going to happen. It's just a forecaster's confidence saying, hey, there's a moderate risk because it's higher confidence. It's a marginal because it's lower. But if you're in a lower area, I'd still watch it. Matter of fact, I'm going to switch over to this screen real quick. And Derek, I'm going to let you go ahead. Go ahead.
So, once again, very similar thing to what I talked about in the November 4th event. So, Again, we saw, 20 tornadoes on that day?
25, I believe.
25 to be exact.
Yeah.
So, coming into that event, Arkansas was below average for the year in tornadoes.
Way below average.
Now we are above average. That one event accounted for about 30 to 40% of the entire year's tornadoes. It's November, not March, April, or May. It's November. So, why is that reason? This time of year, again, you need spin in the atmosphere. Your shear is higher in the fall, the winter, and very early spring than it is, say, mid to late spring and in the summertime.
Because you're transitioning to a summer pattern, and everything slows down in the summer.
Because this time of year, your jet stream is down south. So what that means is that you have much more wind energy available for storms to rotate, and this is counting from the lowest levels of the atmosphere all the way up, and you need layers all the way up to spin in order to have a major severe risk like the one we are talking about.
And you can see there's a NAM, and I want to stress something with the NAM model. First and foremost, I don't trust NAM. If you're a weather enthusiast, you should never trust the NAM with the radar. Radar is not going to be anything you're going to get 100% right down the middle until day one. But the biggest concern I'm having is, first and foremost, there's a lot of streaking going on over here in central and eastern Arkansas. That is very concerning because of the fact that you will have the potential of seeing tornadoes. Any storms that go up on Tuesday in this environment will produce. It's just a given because the environment that you're going to have in place. Another thing I'm worried about is where's the warm front? Where's the warm front? Because if we've seen this back in March, it was the Russellville setup where you had a warm front kind of draped right there on the River Valley. And what ended up happening was you had all those storms south of the warm front produce tornadoes. I mean, we had tornado warnings left and right. This particular one, the warm front, is draped from northeastern Oklahoma and into southern Illinois. And this is why we're worried so much here in Arkansas, because of the fact that you're in North Arkansas. You're thinking, oh, my dew point's in the upper 50s, low 60s. Doesn't matter, because you have a shear, you have directional shear. You can see some cold core tornadoes up here in northeastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, up into southern Missouri, up into southern Illinois. I've got some folks in Illinois that are concerned about this setup as well. So that's the biggest thing right now here. But the biggest thing, Amanda, just because you're in a marginal slight risk area doesn't mean you should let your guard down at this point, okay?
And there's something I want to stress.
I'm gonna let you take this one.
All right, we're not hyping Tuesday.
I'm gonna let you take this one.
There's no hype to Tuesday. So again, you don't have to have warm weather right before an event like this to have this time here. It's called a cold season setup. Again,
Yep.
The National Weather Center or the Storm Prediction Center put out a day 7 slight risk. It was day 5 enhanced. Am I right? Day 4, day 5 enhanced.
Yeah. No, actually, no. No. Yeah, it was day 4, day 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Day 4, 5
yeah.
enhanced risk. All right. So when they put out, it's good confidence that severe weather is going to be seen.
Yep.
They have used the word outbreak on day 3. Keep in mind, we were 72 hours from the said event, and they used a outbreak wording if conditions warrant. Now, keep in mind, there's no hype involved for Tuesday. We don't hype events. We never will hype events. We never have, and we never will. But when an event like this, especially knowing that the Little Rock radar could possibly, most likely, be down for this event, we want to bring as much awareness as possible to as many people in the state as we can reach and let them know, hey, this is a good possibility that severe weather will be a threat on Tuesday. It will be cold on Tuesday morning. We've already said that. It will be very warm by lunchtime on Tuesday afternoon. It'll be even warmer Tuesday evening.
Let's take care of this right now.
And the reason why there is no hype with this event.
So
this is a awareness. This is to let you know, hey, this is likely it's going to happen. You need to take precautions now to protect life and property ahead of the event.
Yeah, and I'm gonna address this right now. If you think this is hype, this is not the live stream for you. I'm just gonna be blunt about it. This is the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. I've pulled it up. And this area that you see highlighted in the gray, a tornado outbreak will be possible across parts of the lower and Mississippi valleys if the current forecast parameters, such as the instability, deep layer shear, and low level remain current forecast levels. This is why we have it on our graphics. We don't just go, oh, it's going to be an outbreak. It's going to be an outbreak for the likes and shares and comments. We don't do that here. If you think that we do that here, please feel free to contact us, and we'll get it taken care of. But we don't do that here. We give you guys information. That way, we keep everyone informed, and we save as many lives as possible. And like Jared said before, Little Rock, if we lose the Little Rock's radar, then what's going to happen is it's going to be very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's going to be very difficult to get the information out very quickly, because you're going to have to jump between every single radar to get the job done. Can it happen? Definitely. It's more work, but we'll get the job done. But I want to talk about this right now and get the whole hype, just get the word out of here at this point, because of the fact that this is legitimately from the Storm Prediction Center, not from us, from the National Weather Service and National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Okay. We don't put this information out unless they put it out. And if they put it out, you should probably take it seriously. So if anybody that thinks it's hype, feel free to leave. Okay. So Cassandra, what would you recommend everyone calling to make them stop? Yes. Blow their phones up. You may have a waiting point, but blow their phones up. Do it. Everybody that's in that, they're gonna hate us. They're gonna hate us. But I would much rather them hate us than us lose lives. At this point, I'd do it. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and call them. Tell them, hey, stop the maintenance. And I'm pretty sure first thing in the morning they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna stop it. So everybody call that number at this point. And I believe Frankie over there in Vortex Chasing. He's going to make a post, and I'm going to share his post and put it on the page. And you guys are going to have that number and stuff like that, just in case you miss it in the live stream here. But I want to kind of debunk the whole hype thing right now. This is from that Storm Prediction Center. Legit wording at this point. Okay? So there's our favorite guy, Elijah. Sorry for missing out. Do you think a moderate risk will go out tomorrow and possibly a high risk? Elijah, I'm pretty certain this is going to be a moderate. And what you're looking at right now is what we call the machine learning. This is a obviously computer model. This is a computer model. Everything's a computer model at this point. But this was what helps Storm Prediction Center make their forecast maps. Okay.
Yep.
Notice something here, and I'm gonna try to see if I can zoom this down even further. Let's take a look at this. Okay. So this is the day 3, which is Tuesday's tornado probability forecast from the machine learning. It has a 15% for much of central and south Arkansas.
Now, this would be moderate risk. This would be a moderate risk category if you went off this. Again, this is a
Computer model
that SPC is starting to use.
Yeah, and this it's pretty good. It's done really well. What previous events did excellent. I mean,
November
excellent.
4th?
It did excellent with
It
November
hit
4th.
it
Head on. November 4th was just a head on with this one. So Storm Prediction Center uses this a lot, and 9 times out of 10, you see them use what the machine learning have in their actual forecast. So if the machine learning is having this, then what's going on is more than likely you'll probably see this in the next couple of outlets here. And you see this area down here in South Arkansas that's a 23, 24, 25. You're making a push for high risk. I don't think you're going to get high risk out of this unless the lingering questions are answered. But also, you've got wind and you've got the hail probabilities. If I get my mouse to click with me over here. You've got the hail probabilities as well, which both enhance risk. But the tornado would push it to be a moderate. Cynthia, thank you for the phone number. That's the phone number to call. That's going to be the phone number to call. And I want you guys to blow it out of the freaking ocean. Do it. Do it. They're going to hate us. They're going to hate us tomorrow morning. But I'd much rather for them to hate us than for us to have a loss of life because of a scheduled maintenance here. So this
something I also want to stress. Here in our weather center, we're not going to be without radar. We already have a backup ready to go just in case. It's going to be a little bit harder to see some of those, some of the rotation area stuff and stuff like that. But best case scenario.
Worst case.
Neutral.
Worst case. Neutral.
All right, for radar coverage, severe weather needs to stay in that enhanced risk area. The reason being is because that is where the Memphis radar covers 90% of the state, and worst case scenario is if it gets to West Arkansas, we have Fort Smith radar
and
as well.
Shreveport.
And Shreveport.
And
our biggest concern right now is if there's a radar outage in Little Rock, you're going to lose Central Arkansas down into Pine Bluff, Rising, places like that.
I-530.
The I-530 area, basically from Little Rock to Pine Bluff down there to Rising area as well. If it does, that's our concern. And again, Cameron and I have been talking about the possibility, like we did on November 4th, of me going out and chasing kind of halfway into the event when things start to threaten a little closer to the metro area. I'm kind of back and forth about it because of no radar coverage. Because from experience chasing down in Dixie area, radar coverage, you are on your own. Especially with this being a nocturnal event, you don't want to risk your life for something this serious. And even the most experienced seasoned chasers are really concerned about this event, not only for Arkansas but for Louisiana, Mississippi, and Tennessee, Southwest Kentucky, Southeast Missouri, even into parts of Northeast Texas as well. So everybody's concerned about this. The biggest question is going to be, what we see, where we see it, how, what is the widespread, what is widespread, or what's going to be, 1 or 2 storms. Here's the thing, everybody, if anybody was around March 1st of 97, this event was the one that first got my interest in weather. And March 1st of 97 was basically 1 or 2 supercells that produced multiple tornadoes along I-30. Similar setup, a little bit further east. But this setup really reminds me of December 10th of last year. And the reason being is because you have cold to warm really, really fast. And if you remember, we did see a little bit of morning rain that morning. Not much went on throughout the day. It was quiet. All of a sudden, we had warnings go off, and it went nuts. It went from nothing to nuts in a few minutes.
He told me this story last night, and I about
Yeah.
I about lost
But
it.
again, March 1st of '97
Yeah.
was one of those events that was a generational type of event.
Oh, yeah.
I don't expect that this time around. Obviously, you get one of those events, and you never see the likes of it again. That event hit Prescott, hit Arkadelphia, hit Malvern, Benton, Bryant, Little Rock, East End, Sardis, Beebe, Searcy, Baldwin, Newport, on up into Walnut Ridge and Jonesboro, blah, blah. Basically, I started all the way up to 671 to 67. It was basically one or two cells that marched through the state. I don't know how many of you were around for that event, but it was a significant event.
Yeah.
Again, that was still qualified as a cold season event because it was still just our transition from winter into spring.
Yep.
Or our transition from fall to winter here. December 10th of last year, very similar event.
Yeah.
Very, very, very similar event to what we're going to see on Tuesday. No two events are alike. What concerns me is, could this one be
Even worse
even worse?
than November 4th.
We had 20 tornadoes on November 4th.
And it was a crazy night.
There were, what, Cameron? On December the
Ooh.
10th of last year,
I think it was, I believe, I'll have to look it up. But
Mayfield was an EF4,
yeah.
right?
Yes. Mayfield was an EF4.
Mayfield, and then the ones in northeast Arkansas were an EF4 as well. Jonesboro barely got missed on that event. I remember we were live for several hours with that event.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm pulling up the server right now.
And so once again, no two events are alike. But with that event, we were stressing days in advance.
Oh, yeah.
Be prepared for rapidly changing weather conditions with that event because didn't look like much at the start because it was going to be cold or cool a couple of days prior. Even the morning of it was kind of cool.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, all that warm air surged north, and then we had severe weather that evening. And it was quiet all day long. We had questions all day long, people asking us, hey, it's a bust, nothing's going to happen. Y'all just hyped it.
You had 69 tornadoes.
And then you had 69 tornadoes that night. All nocturnal.
21 of them were here.
Yep.
We're here, and it's the general area from northeast Arkansas into the Tennessee Valley, and then it continued the day of. It ended up being a very, very significant event. So,
and this leads me to that question right there.
yeah. So, Dylan, to answer your question, it's very rare. You don't get it a lot. I know Storm Prediction Center. Go ahead. I know Storm Prediction Center. You see this a lot, and you've seen it a lot this year, in particular about these hatched areas. What does the hatched area mean? What does it mean? The hatched area is delegated for significant severe weather. In this particular case, given the wording, it's for tornadoes. Because normally, if you're day 3 and they're talking about the hatched area, it's for, you'll see it in their discussion, it's either for, significant wind or significant hail or anything like that. This particular hatched area is for significant tornadoes. That's putting it plain straightforward. That's what it means. So it's very rare to get one on day 3. You normally don't see your hatched area start to pop up until day 2, or even in some cases as late as day 1. And even at day 1, you may get a hatched area 2 to 3 hours before the event even gets started. So that's the biggest thing at this point. Amanda, love your comments. I absolutely love them. You got to recognize your cities, your counties. We've stressed this a lot. We've stressed this a lot during severe weather, guys, and we're going to continue to drill it in everybody's head until everyone figures it out. But the biggest thing is you got to know your cities and your counties. I know a lot of people are new here. They don't know what we do. They're here from the November 4th setup. That's what we do, guys. Okay, we tell everybody what's going on or anything like that. We don't, hype anything up. We could care. Honestly, I could care less about likes and shares and comments and all the other stuff. I'm in it for saving lives and saving people and everything like that, okay? I can care less about all that. The biggest thing is making sure that the word gets out to everybody. We don't just put stuff out just because it's, popular or stuff like that. We put it out for a reason, and it's just because we want to save lives. So, Amanda, love your comment. You got to know what your cities and your counties are at this point. But right there in eastern Arkansas, the enhanced risk, hatched area across much of eastern Arkansas, slight risk, and then the marginal risk area at this current time here. Okay. So, let me double check. Okay. All right. Okay.
And again, here's the thing. We're getting a lot of questions. My town, this. What about my town? What about my town? What about my town? Here's the thing. We can't give you an exact forecast for every single town because, again, the biggest thing is about every single town. Every single town is gonna be different. There's no guarantee you will be hit with severe weather.
There's never a guarantee.
There's no guarantee.
There's never a guarantee.
But what you can do is be prepared for the possibility, and that's why there's a general risk over any given area. And that's why it's good to know your counties to your west, counties to your east, towns to your west, east, north, and south. So that way hey, say if I live in Valonia, hey, okay, I see Conway's kind of on the edge of that hatch risk, so that means I'm kind of in that hatch risk.
Basically, yeah.
The entire, basically all of Pulaski County is in a hatch risk, and so that means there's a chance for significant severe weather. And again, it's hatched for the tornado threat, not the wind threat, not the hail threat, strictly for the tornado threat. Again, that's why the word outbreak has been used.
Definitely. So let me go ahead and just kind of take a look at some other guys, and I'm gonna pull this up and stuff like that. Let you guys kind of look and see. I'm actually gonna look at some other stuff real quick. But this is the NAM model coming in. Also, one more thing I want to stress is the HR and boy, the 18Z. And this is the reason why I'm harping so much on you folks over there in western Arkansas, because you're not out of the woods. There's no way you're not out of the woods at this point. You're still in the much of the ball game as anybody else. This is the HR coming in right now. This is a very short range model coming in. And notice something. Everything's further to the west. You're talking eastern Oklahoma, much of eastern Texas, down into southeastern Texas, and this is all coming into the state, and it's going to get worse. So if the HR were to verify downstream, you would be talking about a almost statewide event at this point. That's why I'm harping you guys over here so much in western Arkansas, and everybody's like, oh, it's hype, it's hype, it's hype. They're overdoing it, stuff like that. Guys, it's not hype. Okay, not everything you see on Facebook is hype. Us here, we don't do that stuff. There's no need for all that. We do this stuff for a reason. If you don't want to believe severe weather, that's perfectly fine. Just keep that in mind when severe weather strikes.
I'm posting this again. I'm posting our number again.
Yeah.
And again, you'll see this number periodically pop
over
up.
the next 2 days, you're going to see it a lot
throughout our live stream.
Yeah.
And leave them a message this evening. I'm sure they're going to probably have about a few million messages by the time they come in the morning.
Yeah, I'd hate for somebody to come in the morning and be like, what in the world happened here? but yeah, it's going to be a pretty significant severe weather. Okay.
This is a good question here. All right, so tomorrow there's no severe weather. We do a live at 6.
Yep.
That's going to be our evening live stream. If there's a moderate risk that happens to go out tomorrow, we'll probably do a lunch live stream as well.
We're gonna go. Yeah, if there's a moderate risk, I'm gonna go live.
And basically, we're gonna get day 2 has 2 updates. So we're gonna get one at midnight 1 a.m. tonight.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna get another one around noon tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow evening with Cameron as we talk about everything. And by tomorrow night, we will have much more information than we do tonight regarding on Tuesday. Now, the day of Tuesday, he will be live either first thing in the morning or around lunch. And then, of course, obviously, we will be here throughout the day.
Yep.
I got a feeling if it's anything like November 4th, when the first tornado warning goes out, we'll be live nonstop throughout the rest of the day.
And that's what I'm probably going to end up doing, Elizabeth. I know you worry so much about when we're live and stuff like that. And I understand because Facebook doesn't always alert you. What I'm thinking about doing is on Tuesday, and I'm going to try this out. I don't know how well this is going to go, but I'm probably just going to have a stream just up all day. Just have it like I break in and stuff like that, and then just have a stream going, and then when I'm not in it, just have it looping the information. I may end up doing that. If you guys would like to see that, I'm going to make a post tomorrow. If you guys would like to see that, let me know, and that'd be awesome, and that way it saves us time. But the problem I have with that is Facebook's algorithm. Because if you let a live stream go for so long, Facebook's algorithm is going to be like, okay, don't push this out to anybody. If we have a tornado warning, we need that out to everybody, because the fact that it's life-saving information. So I don't know yet We shall see. If I don't do it on Facebook, it's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on YouTube because of the algorithm issue. It's a Facebook, YouTube situation. Elijah, favorite buddy. I like seeing your comments, but the European model. The European model has been. I don't know what the Euro's doing. I think the European model is very, very progressive with this system. The European model has not been the most accurate either. It's struggled. The November 4th setup, it struggled a lot. I mean, it did not do well at all with the November 4th setup.
It had the troughing, and that was about it.
Yeah, it had the troughing, and that was about it. The European model has been getting its butt spanked by the GFS. The GFS has just been dominating the board this year. And, last year, it was flip-flopped. The Euro was just dominating the board, and GFS was just kind of, there. Now the GFS is more the bigger model versus the Euro. It kind of flip-flops for every set situation here. But let's take a look at the Euro just for an example, okay? So the European model, first and foremost, Derek, you're like 1,000 cake right at noon. First of all, with the Euro. But the biggest thing is with the European model, and I've noticed this. Compared to the other runs it has came west. It has come west with the 12Z run. I do believe it is further to the east with the convention, but I do believe that it's going to be your Western Arkansas. You're going to have to watch just closely here, but I do believe it's further west. Yeah,
I see what's going on here. So what it's doing is, but I see what's going on. You're going to have dry air issues in the Ozarks. And I think what's going on is that you're going to have, as the front comes in, your warm moisture is going to go around the mountains.
Yeah.
Similar to what we see with winter weather when we talk about the cold air coming around the mountains.
Yeah.
This time it's going to go around the mountains the other way. And I'm starting to see that where your dry air is going to get hung up in the mountains. And basically, it's not initiating until it gets closer, say, to the eastern Ouachita's, southwest Arkansas, over towards mountain home places, as it starts coming. Basically, kind of a down sloping effect. Basically, your down sloping winds off of that front, and then your updrafts are able to feed into the warm and unstable environment to its east. So you're going to have plenty of instability to the west, but because of dry air issues and your front coming in so fast, you're not going to have time to get the moisture return into the Ozarks as you will in southeast, eastern, central, and to southwest Arkansas.
Yeah, I can see that. So that means northwestern Arkansas would probably be lucky and end up missing this event. But the biggest thing that you just saw, Elijah, with the difference between the Euro and the NAM, you saw it went from central and east to now much of the state. So that's what I'm concerned about. And you can see what happens there over here in central eastern Arkansas. Eastern Arkansas, I'm worried. Yep. I'm very worried for my folks over there in eastern Arkansas. But here's the thing: if it happens over here, you're covered because you have Memphis's radar. You start talking areas, I'd say west of Brinkley, you're in deep water at this point. You're in deep water. So we'll have to watch it closely here.
Okay.
But
so this up here, this comment here. So the phone number that people are calling, is giving them an email address to email them as well for notification.
Okay.
And they tend to get email, and they tend to respond to email faster than they do phone calls. So
boy, that's gonna be a million emails somebody's gonna have to respond to.
Yep. So
oof.
Just to throw that out there.
All right. Do I need to pull? I was gonna say and here's the thing: we're gonna get the information up after this live stream and stuff like that. Derek, I do have a question though. Do you want to have a 7A out tonight and just have it for tonight and be the last one and then go from there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We can do that tonight then, and then for Monday will be just all information about Tuesday here. So.
All right. So Tim, with the National Weather Service radar being down, that's still not going to affect warnings.
No.
What I'm afraid what I'm thinking is going to happen is there will be a quicker trigger to the warnings, especially in the Little Rock warning area, and say there would be on a regular night. One, because you're going to have plenty of ingredients in place. Any storm that goes up, it even shows signs of rotating.
Boom, 21.
And you're going to have a 21. Another thing is ground reports are going to be substantially needed. If you are a weather spotter in this state, you're going to be needed now more than ever. This is what your training is for.
Yep.
This is for events like this. This is basically, we're going back probably
to the old ages, like 20,
40
30
or 50 years.
Yeah.
Where radar was but you had the ground reports to confirm what they may or may not see on the radar.
Yeah.
And so, as a Skywarn spotter, as a National Weather Service spotter, and the biggest thing is if you went to a training and you're available to spot on Tuesday night, you're gonna be in. National Weather has already said you will likely be needed on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So something that's where ground reports are going to come in. Ground reports will prompt those tornadoes as well.
Matter of fact, I'm probably going to start a thread probably tomorrow morning. And if you're a storm spotter and you're a legit storm spotter and you have a good amount of experience, I'm gonna have it up there and people can contact us and stuff like that, and we'll get you guys set up. That way, we have everybody covered across the state just in case something like that happens. I'm worried. My folks over in Eastern Arkansas, you need to be paying attention a lot more with this event. Western Arkansas, don't take it as nothing's gonna happen, but Eastern Arkansas, I'm worried. I'm worried, and it's day 3. It's day 3. I'm very concerned right now. So let's take a look at this. So this is Rose. How is the instability looking for Tuesday? This is what I'm worried about right here. I'm gonna see if I can. I don't know if it's gonna let me do this, but we're gonna give this a shot. Okay. So see if I can zoom this out. It's not gonna let me do it. It's not gonna let me do it. Of course, it's not gonna let me do it. Okay. So this side over here is the NAM, and this side over here is the European model. Okay. And let's take a look at this. As a matter of fact, let's use the GFS. All right. So this side over here, I'm gonna see if I can. Let's do this. Okay. So let's go back to this screen. This is the NAM. Okay. So what the NAM is doing, and you can see this is around 6 p.m. on Tuesday. This is more than enough instability to get the job done. As a matter of fact, you're almost talking triple the amount of instability needed. All you need is the magic number is 250 with this event. If you remember the East End EF2 tornado that was just south and east of the metro, that tornado occurred in instability only at 250. That was it. That's all you need. And you can see how far north that gets. So the magic number is 250. In some cases in South Arkansas, you are talking well over that. You're talking at least 1,000 over that at this point. Okay, and you can see what the NAM does. I pray the NAM model does not verify, because man, that is a lot of instability coming into the state here. It has no problem, by the way, getting into the Ozarks. That's the one thing I want to notice with the NAM is trying to get into this area here. But anyways, basically what's going on is your instability is flowing in. So if the NAM model were to verify, this is going to be a late afternoon and evening, typical Arkansas fashion into the nighttime hours. Eastern Arkansas, you have an advantage because you have flat ground out there. Yep. You will be able to see it coming, because these storms are not going to be high precipitation supercells. They're going to be your low base photogenic supercells across Eastern Arkansas. You have the advantage. Western Arkansas, if you start seeing a threat, you're not going to have the advantage because you have mountain ranges and trees and all the other stuff over there in Western Arkansas. So yep. I'm on neutral stance with this. If you're going to get an outbreak, and I'd prefer Eastern Arkansas, especially if we're going to lose LZK's radar, because we will be able to track it a lot better in Eastern Arkansas than we ever would if it's in Central or even in Western Arkansas here at this point. But it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I know everybody's kind of worried about that. We're going to be here regardless. We have radar. We're not going anywhere, guys. Okay? I want to stress that. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here even if Little Rock decides to go through with the maintenance. Okay? We're going to be here regardless. Okay? So is there a good way to track the storms and see the paths? Right now, I'm gonna let you this one.
Again, there's multiple different apps and stuff like that.
The biggest problem I'm having with the
biggest problem with the apps is that without the Little Rock radar, you're not gonna have a way to track it.
Yeah.
And that's our concern, is that a lot of people are freaking out. I know a lot of our news services, KTV, Channel 4, they're all, because their radar runs off of the Little Rock radar on their app. Weather Channel, everybody else. So, with that being said, that eliminates your weather apps automatically if you lose radar. Again, a lot of websites, same thing. They use the Little Rock radar. A national radar, like
Weather Channel, Weather.com,
stuff like that.
Yeah.
They use a national radar. One problem is it's not going to show you down pinpoint where each storm is, where the warnings are, stuff like that. for example, like Radar Scope or Radar Omega do. And again, we use a software that is very in-depth. It's a forecasting, it's a broadcast software that we use, so we can get around it to an extent.
It limits it significantly, but
Yep.
we can still get the job done.
Yep.
So that's the biggest thing, guys. We're not going anywhere. Okay, we're going to be here at this point. Okay, so will Arkansas County be covered with Memphis's radar? Yes, Arkansas County is good to go in Memphis's radar jurisdiction. You're on the outer edge once you start getting close to the metro, but if you're in central and eastern Arkansas County, then you're good to go. You're good to go at this point, guys. Okay, and that's the biggest thing here is I know a lot of people are concerned, but we have a way to get the job done. We have a way. I promise you, we're not going anywhere. Little Rock's radar going down is a speed bump for us. It's just a speed bump. Doesn't mean we're not going to be able to cover it. Jackson radar down there in southeastern Arkansas, I do believe so. I don't know how far northwest it gets. I think it gets up to
Ashley Chico.
Yeah, Ashley Chico,
parts of Drew County, Deshay, over to parts of Union and Bradley County as well.
Kind of
Also, I'm
southeast
seeing
corner.
another comment as well. This I'm not close, but they're asking, does it cost to follow us on YouTube?
No, it does not.
Everything we do is free. Okay, we have a subscriber link. Obviously, if you want to, to be a subscriber on Facebook, you can. We don't ask you. And here's the thing, it's basically a donation. That's all that is. The subscriber link is literally a donation. You don't have to do it. Everything we do is free. Weather should always be free.
No matter what.
Everything we post is free. Everything we do is free.
Yeah.
Never worry about clicking a like or a follow button because we're never going to ask you to pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's one thing I do want to stress about that.
Yeah, you'll never have that here at Arkansas Weather Watchers, guys. That's the biggest thing. We and on YouTube, as a matter of fact, YouTube, you have a little bit better of an advantage than you would on Facebook because I don't know what's going on with that, but YouTube sends out the notification a lot quicker than Facebook ever will. So that's the reason why we're harping YouTube so much because you guys will actually be able to see the notifications a lot faster than Facebook ever will, but we'll try to figure out this thing. So the biggest thing, I know a lot of people kind of confused and stuff like that. I know. Yeah.
All right. So basically, this is what happens.
Hold on.
Right.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
So basically, radars across the country have to go through maintenance every few years, and
we're unfortunately in that year.
Unfortunately, this is the third of 4 upgrades that are going to help the radar maintain its life for the next 30 or 40 years. The biggest thing, though, is that it needs to be done. Unfortunately, it gets scheduled weeks and weeks in advance.
Yeah.
The downside to it is that they schedule it during Arkansas' secondary severe weather season,
which was not a good idea.
Which is questionable, but again, it's government. It's out of our control.
Yeah, and this is what we're talking about here. So those that are wondering, basically what's going on is, like I said before, they're replacing a pedestal, which is one of their critical components for the radar. That's basically it helps with the antenna rotation and the positioning. Basically, it helps capture all the data. That's all it is in layman's terms. The components are extremely heavy and require the radar dome to be removed by crane and replaced when the work is being completed. So basically, this is a 2-week job, basically. The radar will be, it says November 28th, which is tomorrow, but I want you guys to blow that phone up, email them, get the job done. Let's push that date to Wednesday, and then we'll go from there here, okay? But this is what's going on here, okay? So that's why we're harping so much about Little Rock, because if this goes down, most of your radar, most of your weather apps, I'm very concerned about. I think this is going to be a situation that you may have to go without the radar, the weather apps at this point.
Ooh, okay, so with this post coming up, bringing a lot of comments. Well, if the radar's out, is my area in danger? Yes. This is why we're harping this, folks, because a major severe event is coming in during a scheduled outage for the Little Rock radar.
Yeah.
There's a reason why this is why so many people are concerned, not only because of the environment in place, but you have a vital aspect to tracking severe weather in the state, potentially to likely being down for this event. And so, just because there's not going to be a radar up does not mean you're not going to be. We're still. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
You're still going to have ways to track it. We will still have ways to track every single warning that goes out. I want to stress that.
The doubt.
We're just letting you know.
Yeah.
This is going to affect all your weather apps.
Yeah.
Your weather apps will not be able to be used in terms of radar across the state of Arkansas.
Unless something can be figured out.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing I want to stress, and I want to make sure how many people we got on here. We got about 200 people right now.
Yep.
And a lot of people are going to come in after this. We're not going anywhere. Let me repeat that. We are not going anywhere. This is a speed bump, not a brick wall. We're not going anywhere, guys. Okay? We will be here. The thought of us not being here shouldn't even cross your mind at this point. We're going to be here. We're going to keep giving you guys coverage. We're not going anywhere. I want to make that perfectly clear. Now, a lot of people are the anxieties through the roof. I'd be lying to you if I told you that I'm not concerned about this event. But I promise you guys, the thought of us going away and not being here, we're good to go. We're not going to lose power because we have a generator. We're straight. We're good to go. This photo is just a speed bump. We have all this technology in here that continues even without that one radar. So that's the biggest thing here. Poor planning on their part. We have 3 months of hot, humid weather that this could have been scheduled for. I agree. And I was telling him this last night when we were going over data. They should have done this in the summer. We had literally nothing going on in the summer. We had no tropical weather. We had nothing outside of the heat. That was it. They could have done this over the summer, if you want my honest opinion. Because fall severe weather season, something this massive, and I'm gonna tell you this now while we're at the end part of this live stream. Beyond Tuesday, there's another threat coming up. We're watching
the potential for another risk as we head into next week as well. Again,
and that one's gonna be even trickier than this.
We'll be watching that one. Again, we're gonna get to this event and then we'll start talking about that one. That one could have a dual threat. We're talking severe and other type of precipitation as well, depending on where you're at in the state. We're gonna talk about that as we get
past Tuesday. Yeah.
And then just an idea, just to give you an idea, so a little bit less anxiety for you. Looking ahead into the month of December.
Oh.
We could be talking about several rounds of precipitation with cold air in place.
That white Christmas.
I will say this.
That white Christmas looks good.
Starting December 1st, we start a white Christmas percentage on our forecasts.
Yep.
And we will be updating that every day. So just to give you a little bit of a little less anxiety type thing for you.
That white Christmas looks pretty good because what's going on is we're warm now. Here's the thing: if you're warm in late November, it always ends up pretty good because you're warm for late November, early December, and then you tank in mid to late December. It's looking good right now. I'll just put it that way. It's looking pretty good. I like the thing here. So why no timing map if it's too early? Because of the fact, let's go back to this real quick. Let's talk to you guys about this. Now I've preached this a lot, but I'm gonna make this crystal clear. You're at day 3. If I gave you a specific timing right now and told you it's going to be at 9 p.m. your city, it's going to happen, and it doesn't happen, you're going to be upset with us. It's day 3. You're not going to get a specific timing right down the map. I'm going to try my hardest to get one out by not first thing in the morning, probably about midday tomorrow with the lunch update or something like that, depending on what happens. But I'm going to try my hardest to get it out to you guys as early as possible. But right now, you're at day 3. You're at day 3. Cannot get a specific hour by hour, minute by minute timing because you're this early. Why we're talking about it? Because it needs to be talked about, and you need to have as much advantage as possible because of the fact of this situation here. The broad timing right now, if I were to just say, it'd be from 2 p.m. to probably as late as 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. I'm very concerned that this may go all the way until Wednesday morning, depending on how slow this front ends up across the state. Also, I hate to ask this, but mine as well, is a PDS watch possible in the Hatch area? Because here's the thing about that, Rose. I don't mind you answering those questions. This setup, I don't know what Storm Prediction Center's thinking is with the whole PDS thing. I've seen them go 15% moderate, and you still didn't get a PDS tornado watch. I think you have to have some kind of ingredients. All your ingredients have to match up in a perfect sync to get a PDS tornado watch. I don't know. At this point, I think it's going to be just probably Wrangler tornado watches and stuff like that without any kind of big wording unless something major changes. But there's some kind of limit right now that they're using, because I haven't seen. I don't think we've had any PDS watches this year. I don't think
No.
we had, and we've had several moderate, 15%, all the other stuff, but we haven't seen a PDS watch. So I don't know what their whole thing is with that, but but just still take it seriously, even if it's not a PDS wording at this point. What you looking
No,
at?
I was just,
Okay, gotcha. Okay, I got you.
I saw somebody saying something about potential snow on Thursday night and Friday. No, it's not there. It's up in Missouri.
Oh, okay,
I was
okay.
like, hold on,
I was
we
like,
need to
I
need to address that as
oh,
well.
I was like, what in the world? But yeah, I was like, we went from severe weather to snow, real quickly. Let's take a look at the GFS. Kind of make this a little bit more, kind of less anxiety at this point. So we get to Tuesday, pattern becomes quiet. Okay, then you have to watch next weekend. There's severe threat next weekend. You have to keep an eye on that.
That's just showers right now. Yep.
There you go. That'd be that 5th, 6th time frame, because you got your low setting up right here. And then that moves through. I think GFS may have backed off because it had the winter weather during that time frame here. And then obviously after that point it gets cold. It gets relatively cold. And then you go into there it is. There's the cold air. So you get a massive cold shot coming in by the time we get towards that middle part of the month. And this is what you want to see. You want that cold air coming in the middle part of the month. I lost my track. He said that. I lost my track of thought. If you want a white Christmas, but Derek, I'm gonna let you take this one. And
All
this
right.
one,
So Elizabeth, this is the thing. There's no way to know.
Yeah.
We're too soon to know. But here's it. Let's go back to our severe weather risk outlook.
Okay.
So again, this hatched area from northeast to southeast Arkansas. Again, I'm also seeing a lot of people saying like Region A and stuff like that. I love Ryan Bond, as well, a great fan and a great asset there. Saying highest risk is going to be into southeast Arkansas. Now, I want to stress something. The hatch risk is from northeast Arkansas to southwest Arkansas. In this hatch risk area, the threat is there for long track tornadoes and strong tornadoes as well. Flip side of this coin, the East End tornado was on the ground for 4 minutes. It touched down, EF2, gone. So, Elizabeth, yes to both. The reason why I say yes to both is because we can have both the potential for long track and long lift, but you can also have the quick touchdown type of tornadoes that are in, out, and gone. If this setup looks much more supercellular and your spacing in between storms is much greater than it was for November 4th. November 4th was much more linear with a few supercells. It went linear a lot faster than we expected, but we still had storms. We had multiple tornadoes along that line of storms. And what happened was you had those quick spin up type of tornadoes, especially as it came into central Arkansas. Now, that being said, there's no way to know 3 days out if you're going to have long track, brief, or none. There's no way to know because we're not at that event. We don't know exactly what the exact ingredients are going to be on the day of. What we can do is go off of what we see, satellite data of the storm system coming in, and track it like that. What we know is based off of history of the state in fall severe events. You do get the ingredients in place literally 4 to 5 hours before an event. All you need is a 6-hour window of ingredients ahead of the trough.
I see why you're. By the way, I see why the name went west. You're speaking. That just brought the idea in my head. Your system's now coming into the northwestern part of the country. You're now starting to get sampling. So the 0Z guidance tonight is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens here. So basically, I'm taking a look. This is what we call the shield model. I'm going to pull this up here in just a little bit. But you can see what's going on here. Okay. First and foremost, I know. Ignore him back here. Anyways, let's take a look at this. All right. So let's go over to this. There it is. All right. So keep in mind, this is one model. This is one model. Okay. This is late Tuesday night. You see all the streakings up here in northern Arkansas and eastern Arkansas and southwestern Arkansas and stuff like that. This is what you're going to have to watch as we get towards this time frame here. Okay. Now let's go over to the base reflectivity at this point. Okay, let's take a look at this. Like I said before, this is one particular computer model, one model. I don't trust one model at all. It's like it's always, you know, this or that could have happened, stuff like that. Thomas, let's take a look at your comment. Okay, any chance that this could speed up and go more east and less Arkansas risk? Always. There's always that 20% chance that it could either speed up or slow way down. At this particular point, you want this thing to speed up. You want it to go in and out and gone. The problem you're having right now is you have a brick wall, what's called the Southeast Ridge.
Yep.
And model guidance in particular has a very hard time, you saw this with November 4th, has a very hard time depicting on where that ridge is going to be. Right now, our advantage is you had a system that come through yesterday, and it's moving through, and it weakened the ridge just enough. However, what's going on is guidance is coming in, especially with the 18Z run today. It's coming in and saying the ridge is just going to fight back, and it's typical because the problem is, notice something. There's not a lot of cold air coming in behind this system. We haven't had a massive amount of cold air for the last 1 to 2 weeks. So what's been going on is there's nothing to hold that ridge from coming back into Arkansas. So that's the biggest thing. Gina, thank you for the email. Education at what?
They're gonna hate us.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh well. It's fine. I don't care. I don't care. It's fine. Arkansas lives are more important. They can. If it was that important, they would have thought about it. But anyways, this is 3-4 o'clock p.m. and then you can see what's doing. Okay. Also, you have a second threat that comes in. You're gonna have to watch. You're gonna have to keep an eye on that because there's your second threat coming in late Tuesday night and Wednesday, and it pushes off towards the east. I think this one's a little bit too fast, but we'll see. We'll see. Radar is not going to be nailed down until day one. We'll have to watch and wait and see on what happens at this point. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. We can't determine the timing just yet. I know everybody's panicking, trying to figure out when it's going to be, when it's specific timing, stuff like that. Biggest thing is I want you guys to take a deep breath. We've got you guys covered. You guys know we're going to have updates and stuff like that. Also, we're going to have a lot of information on YouTube. Also, one more cool thing. Okay, this comment in particular, it's a great friend of ours, coming from Arklatex Weather Center, named Kevin. He's going to be here in the Weather Center with us, going over this event. Okay, so you guys do me a favor. That page that you see in there, give them a like and share as well, because they're a great friend of ours here at Arkansas Weather Watchers. But he's going to be,
Kevin and Michael are former forecasters with us.
Definitely.
That went on and pursued their own thing, which is an awesome thing. And they cover the plains. They cover Southwest Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana.
Yep.
So again, if you need weather information for the western part, for say Oklahoma, Texas, and Louisiana, give them a follow because they do a great job of what they do. And again, you can track systems coming out of Oklahoma and Texas with them as they move into Arkansas, then join both of us as we track it across the state.
Yep.
So
definitely. So
they are a very, very, very awesome team to follow there, and they chase as well.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. They're going to be assisting us in the Weather Center going over this event. And like I said before, that's what we're doing. We're getting all hands on deck. We're going to have chasers out. We're going to have people in the Weather Center. It's going to be a chaotic day on Tuesday here, so we're just going to have to watch. We're going to keep you guys updated on the situation here. So, possible flash flooding? No. N-O with this event. You're not going to get a flooding threat out of this. You're not going to get a flooding threat out of this.
There's a marginal risk for excessive rainfall in southeast Arkansas.
Okay, well, southeast, yeah, okay, all right, gotcha. Okay, I thought you were getting ready to say it was going to be like a high-end flooding threat. I was like, no.
But if you ask Jackson as well, training storms across southeast Arkansas will lead to.
Okay.
And again, the word training storms. This is another concern of ours. Training supercells over the same area, over and over and over throughout Tuesday night. That could lead to not only the tornado threat, multiple rounds of severe weather, but again, if you get heavy rain, the atmospheric moisture is going to be upwards of basically 1 to about 1.25 inches.
Yeah.
So again, the training of storm could lead to isolated areas of flash flooding.
Yep.
And again, we're still in a drought. We've had a lot of rain over the last few days, so that could actually help to enhance the flooding a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit, especially in areas where the vegetation has already gone dormant. A lot of our farmers have burned off their fields already for the year. So again, something that we're going to have to watch. I don't think that's a grave of risk as our tornado threat. But again, if you know something, our high wind threat is immediate. It's not hatched. That means that right now SPC is not expecting a linear type of event. They're expecting more of a supercellular type event, which supercell individual storms are the ones that you watch for tornado producers. And again, like Elizabeth asked earlier, those more long track type of events.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, so that one right there, I saw that one. Can you explain day 1, day 2, day 3? If you can pull that one up, I can see. I don't know where it is either. Go to C thread real quick. Oh no, it may be in there. Hold on, let me see.
Let's pull it down.
Okay, let me see. Okay, there it is. All right, you're just blind over here.
No.
Can you explain day 1, day 2, day 3 things? I'm still a little confused. Okay, so basically what we mean by day 1, day 2, day 3. Okay. We go off of when the event is expected and how many days you're away from the event. So you're at Tuesday right now, which in Storm Prediction Center's terms, don't fall out of the chair. In Storm Prediction Center's terms, you're at day 3. You're day 3 of before the event. So day 2 means that you start talking. You're going to see this tomorrow. We're going to have a breakdown first thing in the morning. Notice something. This graphic is the only one graphic you saw this morning. Tomorrow, you get 4. You get 4 graphics. You go from 1 to 4 because at day 2, you get it breaks down even further on the tornado risk, the wind threat, the hail threat, everything, and like that. But basically, that's what it means, Elizabeth. You go from Tuesday's your event. Monday would be day 1, not day 1. Monday would be day 2. Again, today would be day 3. Tuesday would be day 1 because day 1 is the event. It's the actual event that's ongoing. Day 2 is the 1 day outside of that risk, and then day 3 is 2 days outside of that risk. It's a little confusing if you haven't studied it for like 8+ years, but that's what it means in general. So I think that's let me see here. So I have missed it. Will this occur in Central Arkansas like early in the day or towards the afternoon, evening into the overnight? It's going to be another, yep, I know. This is going to be another late evening into a nocturnal threat. I don't know why Arkansas can't get an afternoon threat for once so we can actually see the storms coming instead of having to wait till the deep in the night when we have a tornado warning and stuff like that. Because I don't know about you guys, but if you're going to get an outbreak, I take it during the afternoon versus at night. It's a little terrifying at night
so once again,
versus during the afternoon.
You know, here's the thing. We've gone over a lot of information.
Virginia, I love
the biggest thing is, I'm going to post this again. This is the number for NOAA. This is the number to tell them, hey.
Not our NOAA on the forecasters. It's
the National Weather Service. This is the main NOAA. This is the main NOAA up in Maryland. These are the folks who control the maintenance. The maintenance stuff like that. Again, tell them, hey, we're concerned citizens in Arkansas. We have a risk on Tuesday. It is a significant risk. Can we do anything about it? Can we stop it at least for a couple of days?
Yeah.
Well, it should be a couple weeks, but we're worried about that when we get it.
I was going to say, honestly, they wish they could move it to like a month or something for now.
Or summer.
Yeah. They should do this in the summer, by the way.
But,
I don't know why they
again, write that phone number down, give them a call. Noah's going to hate us for this later, but oh well, Arkansas lives are much more important than a scheduled maintenance.
It's the entire state that's doing the same thing. Let's do it, folks. Our lives is more important than a maintenance. I promise you. Okay, it's way more important than a maintenance schedule. So let's push that out. Let's call that number. If you got to be here's the thing. If you're a night, and they're gonna love us. If you're a night out, and you work at night and stuff like that, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, call them. First thing in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, call them. Blow their phones up because we need to make it to that point that our lives are more important than the maintenance schedule. So, what's up?
This is something. All right. So this is something that we stress about.
Let me go back to this real quick.
Is the difference of? All right. So this is something that is concerning because I know architecture in this state, especially the older architecture, was not made for severe weather. And that's why a lot of times when you see you see a say tornado emergency. the day of. But then when the evaluation of said risk goes out, it was a EF1 or EF0 because
don't even get me started with the Valonian tornado.
Because it's based upon certain architecture structures of buildings. Now, as I said, we have a comment about I live in a duplex. I have nowhere safe. My bathrooms are outside the house. Never heard that one before. But there's always something.
I was gonna say there's actually some cases of that.
So with that scenario, the best case scenario is if you have anywhere in your house that has no windows, and you have anywhere in that in that duplex that has a possibility to where you can get in the center of, if you have to move couches and stuff like that into a center part of a room, and put a mattress and blanket and stuff like that on top of you, that's still just as good.
Yep.
If you have one thing I love to recommend, I got this from
James Spann.
James Spann in Alabama.
Yeah.
Get you a bicycle helmet, a motorcycle helmet, any type of helmet, hard hat. If you're a construction worker, put it over your head because brain injuries are the first thing we see when it comes to when it comes to injuries during severe weather. And if you protect your head, you still have the wherewithal to get up and check on your family and stuff like that, especially if your house is hit. Now I've chased for going on 18 years now, and I have pulled many a body out of rubble. And the biggest thing was no protection, no pillows, no blankets, nothing at all. And I've also pulled people out who took that protection. Trust me, when I say a broken leg is much better than a lost life. And I've seen it time and time again. And a lot of times I've heard over the years is we didn't have warning. We had little warning. We had no warning. And another thing is there's a lot of people who hound, weather officers or weather station over sporting events, stuff like that. It's their job. It's our job to save lives.
Yep.
That's what we're going to do no matter what.
Yep.
And so the biggest thing is that even if you don't have a
sporting
room or a closet, a hallway or something like that, go to it. If you don't have that, if you have somewhere you can go on the day of a severe weather event, most small towns have a community shelter that they use. Look up your shelter because that would be a good thing to have or know where to go on an event like this. We're not saying you will need it, but it's always good to know.
And one more thing I want to stress too is if that's physically not possible, because I know there's some homes down there, in South Arkansas, Southeast Arkansas, stuff like that. Yes, and that's a good point as well. Protect the head. Like you mentioned before, a broken leg is always better than something coming down on your head. It's a million times. It doesn't sound a million times better, but it's a million times better because you can recover from a broken leg. So keep that in mind. But anyways, if there's no said protection, if you're in a situation, and there's somebody listening to this that there's probably just heard everything he said and are saying, okay, there's no way I can do that. If that is the case, study your surrounding areas. If you have a grocery store, if you have a gas station, stuff like that, go to Google Maps, look up your location, and look at everything around you. If a tornado warning goes out, and this is what we're going to do on Tuesday, that's why we have Kevin from Arklatex Weather Center. That's why he's coming in to help us on Tuesday. If a warning goes out, we are going to try our darnest to get advance warning out an hour and a half out. Okay? If you hear us call your name on Tuesday, you have that time to sit there and say, hey, there's a gas station, there's a grocery store, there's a restaurant, there's something nearby that will offer better protection than where you are right now. Get in the car, get there, take shelter. I don't think there's any businesses here in Arkansas, maybe a few exceptions, but there's no businesses here in Arkansas that will turn you away from that from taking shelter in their business here. And if they do, just find somewhere else because that's not right. But yeah, that's the biggest thing here. Is just trying to find a building that's more susceptible, or is more sturdier, than where you are at that particular point. And also the biggest thing is to hunker in the hallway. Get away from the windows. That's the biggest thing. You want to get away from the windows You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as physically possible at that given time here. Also, if you're traveling on Tuesday, do not, and I repeat, do not seek shelter under an overpass. It's the most dumbest and the most worst way to do when a tornado situation, because of the fact that your winds, tornado goes over a bridge, your winds are actually more amplified under a bridge because the winds have nowhere to go except forward, so it's going to speed up. So your winds are actually more faster under a bridge than they were from the actual tornado. There's actually been some cases where tornadoes gone over a bridge. Tornado was rated, 115, 120 miles per hour. But under the bridge, you've gotten winds close to 200 miles per hour because it's such a narrow corridor. The wind's just trying to get through, and it has nowhere to go outside of the little corridor. So keep that in mind. Do not seek shelter under an overpass. Find a gas station. If you can't find anything, at the worst situation, you can't find anything, abandon the car, find a ditch, and take cover and cover your head. That's the biggest thing. Do not go under a bridge. It will. I promise you. You do that, you may be doing your last action at this point, because it's dangerous. And we've heard some terrifying stories back in the day where people were doing that and they end up getting killed because the car just gets sucked out and thrown 200, 300 yards out. So that's big.
This is the first time I've seen this, but it's got crawl spaces under the house. Now, let me tell you why this is a bad idea.
Very bad idea.
All right, because here's the thing. Say you're taking shelter under crawl space.
Yeah.
And say your house is not really impacted by a tornado, but you have a lot of heavy rainfall. Well, that crawl space is designed for that rain to go under without affecting the foundation. It's also designed for plumbers, stuff like that, to get under the house. Pest control, to deal with stuff like that. It's not a shelter type thing.
Yeah.
And if a tornado does hit your house and takes the house, in that crawl space, winds will be double what they are outside. So you could be sucked out of that just as easy as you got in there. So another thing is that you could drown accidentally by taking shelter if you have enough heavy rainfall, especially if you live even on a slight slope. So again, I've never seen this before. It's not recommended by the National Weather Service.
Not recommended. It's
not really. It's something we never say and never will, because again, our thing is lowest level of your house, away from windows, and as many walls between you and the outside as possible. If you have a shelter, great. If you have a bathtub, get it in. If you have a room or a closet, get it in. That's like us, because we're having to move the first of the year, to a bigger area, and and so one thing we're gonna have to do is that's one thing each house we go to and we're looking at, we are evaluating to see where a tornado shelter could be. That's one key thing. When I look at a house, whenever I move my family to, is where can you move it to that has a tornado shelter? Not necessarily a in-ground shelter, but one that you can be safe in.
Yeah,
a crawl space is not one of those.
I've never heard of that before until today. I've never heard of that. I was getting ready to say it's kind of similar to being like under the overpass, because your winds are so double because the winds have nowhere to go at that point. But yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay. Continue.
Yep. There we go.
All right. So I'm just tuning in. What is it looking like for the River Valley, Pope County mostly? The biggest thing with that over there in Western Arkansas is, over there in Western Arkansas, you're kind of in that. You're kind of sitting high right now. You don't have a risk over. Well, you do have a risk. It's a marginal, slight risk, but it's not as high as Eastern Arkansas. So you're kind of saying, hey, not really expecting much. Just have a plan ready to go. Okay. Also, one more thing. I want to address this before we hop off of here. We don't scare anybody here. There's no point in that. If you think we are, contact us, please, because we don't do it. We don't do it intentionally and stuff like that. I don't know why that's the case, but we don't do that. Our job is to get the information out, and we don't sugarcoat anything. We don't. There's no need to sugarcoat anything, because I put it this way: you have a tornado threat. Would you much rather have someone tell you about the tornado threat 3 days in advance, or would you have somebody tell you the tornado threat after it happened?
Yep.
That's the biggest thing. We think of it as, hey, These guys would much rather know the information right then and there, have a plan ready to go. That way, if it doesn't happen, great. That's great. That's fine by me. And I told my forecast and everything like that. If it gets to that point and we start having a lot of immature comments, it's just going to end in a block. And we don't have the energy or the time for it, guys. So that's the biggest thing at this point. Okay, I know hearing the tornado warning just instantly drives everybody crazy. Okay, but we don't scare anybody here. We never will, and we have literally no reason to do that. All we do is keep everybody informed on the latest information. If we see that it's going to be a tornado warning, like I mentioned before, that warning comes straight from the Storm Prediction Center. If you think that we're hyping, take it up with them in Norman, Oklahoma. They control all the risks. They control all the everything. We report what they say. If they're saying outbreak, we're saying outbreak. That's all we do. We don't come up with our own forecasts or anything like that. We don't hype or anything like that. And I apologize for the ranting, but it's honestly starting to get a little annoying. Honestly, because it's getting to a point that it's like, we're not scaring anybody. We're not hyping this situation up. We don't do it for the likes or the follows or anything like that. It's petty. It's no reason for it, guys. And if you think that this is not going to be the page for you, it's just not. Because I could tell you a million times that we're not going to do it, but if you don't want to believe it, that's how it's going to be. So I apologize for that. I apologize for a little ranting. Wanted to get that out. Okay, so Kimberly, what's it looking like for Wynn County over in Cross County? Oh boy, over there, the biggest thing is just have a plan ready to go. It's day 3. You're early. You're at Sunday. You're looking at this on Tuesday. We do these live streams all the time. That we give you guys a heads up advice. That's the biggest thing. Okay. If you don't trust what we're saying, that's fine and dandy. Just keep that in mind, okay? But also, Amanda, great comment once again. If you're outside, and I'm really concerned about people that are going to be outside, because Tuesday, you have a lot going on. You have people that are going out, stuff like that. You have events Tuesday evening. Tuesday is a really good day to have, like school-type events and stuff like that. I'm really concerned about Tuesday. So if you find yourself outside, go to a gas station, a courthouse. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of courthouses. I believe one in El Dorado, being specific here, but the one in El Dorado, I believe, has a tornado shelter in it. Yep. I don't know if Little Rock. I think Little Rock does as well. No, they don't. Okay, no. So I know the one in El Dorado does, but I don't know about the ones in your specific area. But you may get lucky. But that's the biggest thing. But if you're on the road, if you're on the freeway Tuesday evening, the biggest thing I want to stress is finding a gas station, a grocery store, something local, and going in. Okay. You're much safer there than you ever will be in your vehicle. A vehicle is the worst place to be when you're dealing with a tornado. I want to stress that too. The one thing, the tornado. We said tornado probably a million times on this live stream. Yep. And I know it's scaring somebody. And I know somebody's thinking, they're just hyping and stuff like that. No, it's not that. We would be this serious if it was a significant damaging wind threat too, or a significant large hail threat. Yep. That's how it is. If it's significant, that's how it's going to be. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. So if you're on the road, biggest thing is know where you're going, have a location set, and say, hey, is there a gas station, is there a grocery store, or something like that, and go from there. Yep. Okay, but that's it.
That's pretty much it. And again, the biggest thing is we're getting questioned about, driving safety and stuff like that. The biggest thing, don't see shelter under a bridge. Find you a shelter of some kind off the roadways. Bridges are not the best. If you don't have a bridge, if you have to get in a ditch, a ditch will at least provide you some kind of protection. Yep. It won't be the best, but it will provide you with some kind of protection, no matter what. Yep. Again, the biggest thing is to remember. Let's go back to our outlook one more time. Okay. All right. So the biggest thing is I want to stress with this event: stay tuned, stay prepared. As with every event in this state, we're going to get through it like we always do. We got through November 4th just fine. I'm not going to commit to chasing like we did on November 4th right now. That will be more of a game time decision. But I will be in studio with Kevin all night long if I have to be. And Kevin. And Kevin too. Kevin, yeah. So, again, we're going to see how this goes. We have tomorrow, all day tomorrow, to study, and most of the day on Tuesday.
Yep. And one more thing, I was going to say one more thing before we end things. Guys, and I don't know. I think it's probably just me, but those hype comments and stuff like that, it gets to us because it's like we don't intentionally try to hype or scare anybody or anything like that. We don't do this for that reason. So keep that in mind. Okay, if you think that we're doing that here, there's always a unfollow button, an unlike button, and just be done with it. There's just no need for it. Okay, we're not in it for competition. We're not in it for hype or anything like that. We're here to keep you guys informed on the latest situation. What you do with our warnings is your business. That's how I'm going to put it. What you do with our warnings is what you did. That's how it's just going to end up at that point. So keep that in mind. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. If you followed us since 2014, we've been the clutch. We've been here in the most dire of situations, and that's the biggest thing.
Sure.
Okay. So
really good. Last question here coming in. And I think this will be a good last question for this for this live stream.
Yeah. So I'm the world's biggest helicopter mom. I've never heard that saying before. I've never.
I'll
heard
explain later.
Okay. All right. He's a dad. I'm not. So, anyways, how do you know when a tornado has touched down? I need to be prepared. So, this is what Derek mentioned before about weather spotters. Weather spotters are going to be our best friend on Tuesday. Especially the ones that are experienced, especially the ones that have done this in the past, that have been with, the 1997 events, the 2011 events, the 2014 events, the experienced ones. This is where the weather spotters are going to be our best friend. So you would know a tornado has touched down when you hear the loud roaring sound. You can't mistake it. I promise you, you can't. We chased the Iowa tornado, and it was the Winterset tornado, EF4. My first EF4 tornado. Didn't even know where it was on, just perspective. I could hear it. I could hear it. It's a very distinct sound that you cannot miss. Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing is if a tornado has touched down and there's no warning on it, seek shelter. Yep. If you hear a loud roaring sound like a train's coming towards you, seek shelter. Yep. Go ahead and do it. Because like I said, you're going to hear it. It's a very distinct sound that you cannot mistake. Go ahead and do it. And then, hopefully, at some point, somebody will confirm it, tornado warning, stuff like that, go from there. But, yeah, that's the biggest thing, Melissa. That's the biggest thing.
Another thing is, there's a difference. There is a tornado warning. That means that conditions are currently occurring, but there's not necessarily a tornado has touched down. Then, you get a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning. That means a large and extremely dangerous tornado has been spotted and is moving into a populated area. However, there's a difference. There's tornado emergency, particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning. The reason being is a tornado emergency is reserved for higher metropolitan areas or multiple towns in a row that it could potentially go through. Those are typically reserved for the stronger end tornado warning events. And again, that would most likely would be radar confirmed because it's night. Sometimes spotters do identify them as well, but radar wind speeds are based off of that. And again, we can't tell you if it's going to be F4 or 5 as the warning goes out. That's done post-storm. That's done post-storm autopsy when they're actually looking at the events. But a regular tornado warning.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't mean do not heed the tornado warning because a tornado warning means a tornado is imminent or occurring right then. So, tornado warning gets issued if they switch, and our radar has the capacity and the technology that Cameron has designed to turn it from a regular tornado warning to one being reported or on the ground to a tornado emergency. And you saw that on November 4th. It switches throughout the warning cycle, or goes away depending if the warning gets expired.
A lot of work, by the way.
Yeah.
That was a lot of work. But anyways, how many minutes do I have to get to tornado shelter if a tornado warning hits? If a warning hits, it really depends. Biggest thing, Alyssa, is we're gonna give you guys at least 30 minutes to an hour ahead notice. So if we give you a heads up notice, take that time. Most cases you have about a 20-30 minute span with the warning itself, but we're gonna give you an extra 30 minutes. That way you can go ahead and get to shelter here. Also, and this is why I like Kevin. Kevin's a really good best friend of mine. He's a really good best friend of mine. Yep. He is a very, very conservative forecaster. I mean, if you see him go high end tornado threat or something like that, it happens. It happens. I can't tell you how many battles I've had with him in terms of forecasting. He's not being right, by the way, but he's an extremely conservative forecaster. He's very conservative, and even he is saying that this is going to be a regional tornado event, which means you need to take it seriously. You need to take it very, very seriously, guys. Obviously, not everybody will be hit, but they will have higher impacts with this setup than any other. And basically, from anybody from east of Little Rock to Memphis down to Lake Village, you need to be ready to go, guys. Over there in eastern Arkansas here. Okay, so let me see here. Okay, so Rose, thank you for that comment. But other than that, I think that's it.
I think, you know.
Yeah, my Rec Center. Yeah, use that. There you go. Your Rec Center is 7 minutes away. Perfect.
Yep.
You get there. There you go. That takes care of that. But I think that's it.
And the biggest thing is that if a warning does get issued, don't try to go out and spot it or look at it and see it and stuff like that. You know, make sure you go to a shelter. This can be an overnight. Again, it gets dark at 4 o'clock now. You know, 4:30. So you're not going to have that. This is going to be mostly a nocturnal event because it's going to start late. So, when I say late, 4:30, 5 o'clock. So, you know, that being said, we'll be here tomorrow.
Yep.
We'll have multiple live streams tomorrow, and then, of course, all day on Tuesday. But, again, whether or not you're in a risk area or not, pay attention because this will likely change as we head throughout the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, this is the last one that I'm done. Union County does not have a weather net for ham radio, but can connect through the EMR if y'all monitor that. Kyle, do me a favor and send that to our messages, and we'll work on getting that done.
Yep.
Because that's gonna be very important with the setup, here, guys. But I think that's it. Thank you, Deborah, for that. That's the biggest thing. It's fine. I know you can't read that; it's very small. But that's the biggest thing here, guys. Okay, don't panic. We've been through this before. We did the same thing November 4th.
Yep.
And we'll do it again. And that's the biggest reason why I don't like using outbreak wording on this early, because somebody takes it and thinks it's immediate hype, and it's not that. And it's not that, guys. I'm about just tired.
Yep.
But other than that, I think that's it.
Yep.
That's all I got for you guys right now. So, Assistant Chief Forecaster Cameron and
Chief Forecaster Derek will be here all week long, right here on your source for all things Arkansas weather.